All right, so Insurance Regulator IRDAI has allowed insurance companies to launch Group ULIPs and Combi plans without seeking prior approval from the regulator under rules introduced last year. So, how will the launch of Group ULIPs and Combi plans impact policyholders? It's actually a mix of health and life insurance product. Will it make the entire product line complicated? Let's get all these questions answered by Naval Goel, founder, CEO, policyx.com. Naval, good evening and welcome to the show. So, Combi plans, a mix of health and life. You know, as it is, we see that insurance is quite complicated for a lot of people to buy in general. And then here we are talking about Combi plan, you know, something that gives you a benefit of your life insurance and your health insurance. So, first question to you is, what does this actually mean? And also, group ULIP policies. So, what does this mean, and what is the reason behind IRDAI taking this step?
Good evening, Kavita. So, yes, you rightly mentioned that, launching such products, the motive behind launching such products by IRDA is that, there is a big distribution channel that each insurance company have, right? So, a life insurance company would have, probably a few thousands of insurance agents and bank assurance tie-ups, etc. So, basically, IRDA wants to make use of that distribution channel to increase the penetration of insurance. So that is why it has allowed basically them to, kind of launch Combi products so that the insurance need of a person can be fulfilled by a single company rather than going to 2 or 3 different companies, right? So that is the main motive, to increase the insurance penetration as well as the reach for the insurance companies. Now, what this means for policyholders is definitely that it could mean that, the products will become a little bit more complex. As you know, insurance is already very complex. If you go and buy term plan, there are, a lot of variants. If you go and buy ULIPs also, there are lots of options. And similarly, choosing a health plan is also a tedious task, right? You need to take care of a lot of things. But yes, this will increase the choices for the consumers. If you are able to take the right decision, I think consumers will only benefit, because they will be able to choose from more insurers now, because even life insurance companies would be launching health products.
So let's understand what kind of mix are we talking about over here. And although it is very nice and a good step from IRDA giving the liberty to insurance companies to just file the product and launch it without getting any approval from IRDAI, but then don't you think a check would have been needed from a regulator point of view, since this entire sector is so complicated and there are although it's very well regulated also, a check of any new product would have been a better filter or a level of verification from the regulator's end?
See, insurance industry has always been very highly regulated, and that is also a good thing and a bad thing, because it kind of, delays product launches, it increases the hassle of launching a product, and insurance companies weren't allowed that much flexibility. So with this new chairman coming into IRDA, what the main motive of IRDA has been to kind of reduce the regulation and increase the penetration of insurance. So that is the core thesis behind all such moves. And I think on the one hand, yes, reducing regulation helps in increasing penetration, but also a regulatory check is required, and I think that is sufficiently there. So overall, what we feel is that insurance companies have been allowed a decent amount of flexibility to launch products, but it doesn't mean that they can launch anything and everything. They always have to justify, whether it is just about timing of justification. They don't have to justify before the launch, but even after the launch, IRDA will ask questions on how the product was calculated, how premiums were calculated, and what kind of assumptions were made. And those assumptions have to be in line, right, with the market and the reality. So I would say that this will only reduce the upfront complication, but it doesn't mean that the regulation is going away entirely.
So now let me just understand this Combi product, that insurance companies can issue. So what kind of sum assured, what kind of coverage features are we talking about? What kind of premiums are we talking about that can be decided?
So right now, we have not seen many of such products in the market so far. So insurance companies have been allowed to launch such products, and we are, because if you see, life insurance is usually a long-term product, whereas general insurance, health insurance is a short-term product. It is 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year, whereas life insurance goes up to 20 years, 10 years. So currently, they are basically trying to understand the market to what kind of product will actually fit in, because when you talk about general insurance, you have to take care of yearly inflation, and then you have to basically make sure that the claims are paid very frequently, whereas life insurance claims are usually paid once in a policy term, right? So all of these complications are there. So but yes, insurance companies are trying to kind of some companies have even tied up with their general insurance counterparts and combined the product in a way that it is one policy for a customer, but it is actually two policies in the back end.
Now, from an investor or a policyholder's point of view, we always advise viewers and people in general that you should be keeping your insurance first of all in place. Starting off with your life insurance, a separate product, and your health insurance. You should not be investing in insurance policy, because we've got a separate set of investment options for that. Now, when we talk about a mixed product, how complicated, although we don't have any example right now, on basis of what we can actually explain people and, help them decide what's good for them and what's bad. But then, as per a strategy, isn't it always good to have a standalone life insurance product and a standalone health insurance product? Clubbing it, obviously, it will depend on what kind of features are attached to it, but a segregated approach towards your entire portfolio or your planning makes sense.
Absolutely. I am of the same belief that you should at least have one term policy and one health policy. Apart from that, investment should not be clubbed into insurance, because investment you can always do through mutual funds and other better investment instruments. So one term and one health, so it is not much of a deal to kind of tackle. So combining these two for policyholders doesn't really make a lot of sense. But they can always evaluate what kind of products are on offer and then take a decision, because we don't know right now what kind of benefits can combination provide. So if we see those benefits, we will probably change our minds and say that okay, combi products are better. But right now, one term and one health is I think the best combination to go for.
All right. So what do you also mean by Group ULIP, for which the permissions have been given? I think since last year, insurance companies were allowed to issue Group ULIP plans. What does that mean, and what kind of plans are we talking about? Are there any in the market?
So we haven't seen much of Group ULIP plans. So basically, these kind of plans are not retail plans. We usually deal with retail products, and generally health and ULIPs are sold to individual investors.
Also, when we talk about Group ULIP, this is going to, like, if in terms of features, if you could explain how many people could be covered in that, and this also would be a mixed product of insurance and investment, right? So do we have much more investment avenues as per this product? Any idea on that?
Frankly, I would not be able to comment on Group ULIPs, because I have not seen many of such products in the market so far. And we don't really deal with Group ULIPs.
All right, I think that will be all. Thank you so much, Naval, for being on the show and helping our viewers and helping understand actually what are combination plans for which IRDAI has given permission to insurance companies to issue. Thank you so much for being on the show. We'll take a quick break, but then post